I'm fixing to start cleaning out one of my ginger beds. But I want to show you this pretty ginger before I start. This is the shell ginger, Alpenia Zarambet. And I'm Elise, and I'm glad that you stopped by. So let me get up in here a little bit. Isn't that pretty? That's loads of types of ginger, something like 1,600 gingers. Now, most of us are familiar with the ginger that we buy at the grocery store and eat as a spice. Lots of the ornamental gingers have edible parts on them that different cultures around the world do eat. So make sure you do your own research on that. Some of them are even used for medicinal applications, and again, please do your own research. So I wanted to show you these before we start coming in and cleaning this out a little bit. Let me back up. This makes great hedge plants. Now this is the shell ginger, and that's what I'm going to be concentrating on for this video. Later we'll talk about other gingers. And I put these here to make a privacy screen, and they did very well. As you can see, you really can't see through them. And I'm going to do this using the shell ginger all the way across this little strip of land to separate me and the property next door. This particular variety of shell ginger does not go dormant in the winter time. It's going to stay green, and it can get 8, 10, 12 feet tall. It likes sun, it likes shade. Here in zone 9B, or 10A now with the new plant hardiness zone, we grow it in the dappled sunlight. So it does get a few hours of sun, then it gets a few hours of shade. I have found that the clumps, and I do have several plantings of this, the ones that are out in the bright sun for the majority of the day, they don't do quite as well as the ones that get a little bit of shade. This clump does get sun, especially on the other side, which is the the south side. What we're looking at right now is the north side, and there is some tree cover overhead. Beautiful plant, sun or shade. Now this grows on a rhizome, and I'll show you a rhizome in a little bit. This is an ornamental variety. Really, really nice. And I want to show you one of the blossoms. Isn't this gorgeous? Now just look at that. And when it first starts opening up, all of these little blossoms kind of overlap in a shell. And let's see, here's a young one just starting to come out. I'm not going to bother, but you can see how tightly they overlap when they first come out. They're nice size, so this one is, I don't know, 6 inches or so. I have seen them get a lot bigger. They are supposed to produce seeds, and I guess the different varieties do. The ones I have never produced a seed, which is okay. Since they do grow on rhizomes, they are very, very easy to propagate via the rhizomes. They are a monocot. They really don't lend themselves well to leaf cuttings. But if you want to try it, by all means try it. The spiral gingers, which is in the same big order, will propagate from leaf cuttings. But spiral ginger is another whole ball of wax. We'll talk about spiral ginger sometime also. But very pretty, nice stem. They stand upright, makes nice clusters. I don't consider these invasive. Now, if you're in a place that they really like and there's absolutely no maintenance, they will just grow and grow and make large clumps. But they're so pretty. They do attract pollinators. They make a nice hiding place for the small animals to get in amongst the roots and hide. Beautiful greenery. Really nice. There is another variety of this shell ginger, a variegated variety. So let's go look at it. Now this is the variegated version of the shell ginger. Alpinia Zerambat variegata. Beautiful. And I have several plantings of these scattered around the landscape. They can also get 10, 12 feet tall or more. They grow on rhizomes and they produce the same type of flower that the shell ginger with the solid green leaves produces. And I'll drop a photo in to show you. But I just wanted to show you these gorgeous leaves. Look at that variegation. Cream, green, yellow, chartreuse, and they get huge. Look at the size of these leaves. Great. This is a wonderful plant to put in your landscape. You can grow it in containers or you can grow it in pots. This ginger will not go dormant in the winter time in our Zone 9B, like lots of gingers do. It may get a little stressed, it may even get a little sad looking, but it does not go completely dormant. And you can see where it had a bloom here. I was hoping we'd get another bloom on this one to show you, but since we're going into such cold weather, I doubt we have another bloom, but you never know. Most tropical plants don't like anything under 50 degrees. Now this is under a large canopy tree, so it does get protection from the cold. And I think that helps it a lot. So this is the variegated version of the shell ginger. We dug up quite a few of the shell ginger plants. As I mentioned, I wanted to make another hedgerow out of them. Now some of these are 10, 12, 15 feet tall. Maybe I could leave the leaves on and plant them. Chances are they'll die back from the transplant shock. I don't have to cut them all the way back though. I can leave some stems. The shell ginger in my landscape has the largest rhizome of any ginger I have. All gingers grow on rhizomes, and a rhizome is not a bulb. A rhizome is a horizontal growth structure that holds nutrients, it holds moisture, it holds all the genetic material that this plant needs to reproduce itself. Now, a bulb does basically the same thing, but usually bulbs are round and rhizomes are more of a horizontal, right under the ground growing system. There's always exceptions though, always. You can have rhizomes the size of your little fingernail up to the size of your arm. Now these are nice size rhizomes. And they're very pretty with the red coloration. They aren't going to stay red. They will eventually all turn brown. Here in Zone 9B, we do not dig our rhizomes up for the winter. If they're in pots, I just leave them in the pots. The shell ginger, again, in our area, does not go dormant in the winter. It's not going to die back. It won't lose its leaves. So I am going to leave some stems and try to leave a few leaves on each of the big sections that I plant out for my new hedge clump. The leaves themselves can get quite large. I'm not going to waste them. These can be chop and drop. They can go in a compost pile. You can earth compost with them. You can either chop them up and make a green tea biomass fertilizer with them. So you don't have to just throw them away. You don't have to put them in a can, send them to a landfill. You can use them. Great chop and drop. Very nutritious leaves. So take advantage of that. Now I've already started cutting some of these back. This has a new sprout on it, so I definitely don't want to cut that off. And this side is a new sprout that's, about 3 feet tall. See if I can get the camera to scan up. Way up, there we go. So I don't want to lose that either. Now I have a couple of options. This is a new plant. I cut this back a while ago. I can cut it back even more if I want to. And one of the reasons I'm leaving some of the stem is sometimes they'll put out new little stems from that. They might not now. This really isn't even the best time to do this, but it's a time that we had to do it. You know, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. New little plant coming here. See that little nodule or eye coming out? Here's a new plant, and it's swelling here, so there's going to be a nodule coming out there. Don't know if the camera will pick it up. Sometimes you can just kind of feel around on it. One might come out there because it is swelling up a little bit. One might come out in here because it is swelling up a little bit. But right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 plants. This was the initial mother plant. She put out this rhizome, she put out this rhizome, they put out new stems. This little rhizome will also put out a new stem. I can plant it just like this, or I can cut it here, I can cut it here, and make 3 separate plants. If I were putting this in a pot, I would go ahead and cut it, or either use a great big pot, because this a 2-gallon pot will not accommodate this. So you'll want to cut your rhizomes based on what you're using them for, what your resources are, if you're putting them in a container or if you're putting them in the ground. Now gingers are considered tropical, but you can grow them in containers and you can overwinter them. This one does not go dormant for us, but it might go dormant in colder weather. If you're in a cooler location, you can always dig this rhizome up and store it somewhere dry and cool. Then in your springtime, I would soak it a little bit to hydrate it and plant it back out. So this is ready to go in the ground. Nice root system. They don't always have huge root systems, but rhizomes normally do have a root system. Now these I have cut back, to, I don't know, about a 5 foot, maybe 4 foot section, so I could just handle them a little easier. This one has a new baby on it, so I definitely won't mess that up. Nice little root system. Here's a nodule coming. There's another plant coming. Here's another plant coming. If I'm putting it in the ground, I'll go ahead and plant it all. Because again, I want mass. I want some privacy. Now this one is small enough that I want to, if I want to, I can put it in a pot. I can put it in a 2-gallon pot just fine. This long stem may or may not die back. Chances are it is going to die back because of the transplant shock. So actually I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off so I can manage it a little easier. Saving my leaves for chop and drop. I'm not cutting this young one off. So on this one, there's a nodule. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities to have 5 new plants. Rhizomes multiply very, very well. Okay, planting rhizomes is really, really easy. If you're putting them in the ground, cover them up to where your color changes. Now, not all rhizomes are red like this one. Some of them are brown, some of them are beige. You know the little rhizome that you get at the grocery store for gingers, for the ginger spice? That's a rhizome that we eat. So this one will fit fine in a 2-gallon pot. And what I'm going to do, since this one is still red, I'm going to fill it with soil up right past that red part. Now some of them, the older ones, have already lost that pretty red coloration, but they'll still grow. There's a nodule there, maybe one there. I think this one got hit with the shovel. It might come back. So when I plant this one, I'm going to trim it up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot because I want to save as many roots as I can. And that just gives me a little more compact rhizome that I can either plant in the ground or in a container. Neat, huh? Rhizomes are so easy. My favorite growth structure. Not bulbs, but rhizomes. Two things about planting rhizomes, especially in containers. You don't want to plant them too deep, and you do not want to keep them so watered that the rhizome rots. Make sure you have really good draining soil. Don't plant them too deep. Now these big ones are a little different. So I actually am just going to try to cover up most of the red. And that easy. Snug them in really good. They're standing up nice and tall. I can put a little bit more over here if I want to. It will cover up that emerging eye. As it rains and as you water your plants, your soil is going to sink down some anyway. So you can come back and add some more soil. Now I can come back and cut this very tall stem off. Again, chances are it's not going to do anything, but you never know, it might. And when I put them in the ground, I like to leave a little stem on it because it actually marks where you've put a rhizome in. And I don't have to particularly label it. All right, so I'm going to put my label in for this and water it very well. Maybe give it a little Epsom salts, about a tablespoon per gallon of water. That will help with the transplant shock because Epsom salts has lots of magnesium in it. So that one is ready to go to that next process. All right. This beauty is going to go in the ground just like it is. This one will go into the ground just like it is. And actually, I'm just going to leave that long stem on it. If I have to come back and cut it off, if it browns off, I can do that. Here's another connected one. Let's see what we have. I can't, excuse me, I have to adjust the camera. Oh, there we are. Here's a new stem. Here's a new nodule that's going to make a new stem. Here's a new nodule that's going to make a new stem. Nice root system. So this one has 1, 2, 3 new nodules and then the existing mother stem. Let's see if anything is over here. It's kind of like a treasure hunt. Ah, see, there's one. You thought maybe you could just throw this away, right? No. Look at that. There is a new fresh red nodule coming out. Nice. I can cut this back some. Okay. That's it. Now, if you dig your rhizomes up, either from the ground or in containers, and your piece of rhizome is dark brown or black and soft, that means it's rotten. Throw it away. Now, you can check the rest of your rhizome and see if any of it is still good. You need the rhizome to be hard and to be firm when you mash it, and not black and look like it's rotting. That rot will continue to spread. Now sometimes if it's just on the tip of your rhizome, you can cut it off. Maybe put a little aloe vera on it and let it dry a few minutes and use it that way. See, this one has dried from where it was originally cut, maybe months ago from the original plant. I can separate them here and plant them out. Again though, since I have a specific reason for doing this, and I want mass as fast as I can get it, I'm going to leave it. Let's see. Okay, we've got a nodule coming here. There's a nodule coming there. So this one basically, I'm not going to do anything to. I'm just going to leave it alone, plant it by itself. I can put it in a pot or I can put it in the ground. This little one, the whole top broke off in the digging up, moving and everything. So I'm just going to plant this just like that. Cover it up mostly all the way. Put a little aloe vera on top. That's it. There's a nodule. There's a nodule coming here. There's a swelling there. Now, this one got hit with the shovel, but it still should be okay. So, basics on rhizomes. Fantastic growth structures. Very, very hardy. That's it. I've got to get these in the ground. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit and looking at this beautiful shelled ginger. We'll come back, we'll talk about rhizomes in more detail. Till then, have a fantastic day.